So once you've found blocks, the idea is, well, which one will work, and how much money at the end are we going to make? Really, that's ultimately what we're trying to do. So today is I'm gonna be about teaching you the content about how do I assess and how have I been doing this for the last 15 years, these blocks of flats. Because it's not one house, right? It's not one rent. It's not one person that's going to paint it. It's multiple. I mean, I keep saying this, I'm completing. I am still completing. I'm supposed to be, I've completed on 17 flats yesterday, on Friday. But invariably, there's always a question, the last minute that the solicitor will ask you. You're like, mate, you've had this for like 4 months. Why are you asking me the question now? Not my solicitor, the lender's solicitors. So the idea is, how did I know? And again, I can share with you, as I said to you, I'm very open. I'll share with you my numbers. I'll share with you the deal that I bought and how did I work out, and all of it sitting here before we went out to actually see it. That's the key. Otherwise, you're going to be driving up and down the motorways to look for properties and work it out. So today, by the end of this session today, you should be able to take what you found, deal assess them, and say, you know what, okay, maybe none of them work, because none of them work. And then we go, it's a duality. You always keep looking, and then you keep assessing. Look and assess. And I and my team always do that, literally every week, every day. And as I said, half an hour a day, every day, is what the process is that we follow. Yeah. So, and then we got questions and answers. To be honest, I always like to try and open it before with Q&A. Any kind of burning questions you've got from the sourcing or anything before we start?
Not really. I think we both found valuing the flats quite tricky.
Okay.
And it's easy enough, isn't it? Searching for your block of apartments and plugging in the numbers that they give you. A lot of them, I didn't know how to find out the size of them because they didn't give specific addresses, so I found that tricky.
Okay.
And then valuing, because well, for example, Vince was looking at some and I was looking at some, I put a value in. Vince's was like, I don't know, whatever, 40 grand different. And across 5-8 flats, then you're well out.
Oh, you're well out. Did you try the property data stuff?
Which was the property data?
It's if you haven't done it yet, there was a link on the email that says click on it, property data. It's basically, it was, I'm assuming you haven't done it. That's why you're like, oh, it's a bit hard to, because and I'll go through that again with you today, because property data, like a lot of these data analytics companies or software, all it's doing is basically sucking up the data from land registry. And let's say you put a postcode of X, and that postcode, and then it works you through. Okay, so where's the postcode? Where's the address? What are you valuing? A house, a flat? How many bedrooms? How many bathrooms? What kind of condition? And then it churns out a proxy valuation, and that proxy valuation will change your life. I mean, I'm glad that you're asking this, because I'll send the link again. But the idea is, and I will show you the software also before we finish, so at least you can see how it works in real life. But that will answer, Sam, that will get rid of all that question you just had around it's quite hard to value. Again, there's value in learning this, because had you not done this, you will now appreciate how good property data makes our life. Again, it is not, so property data, it is not 100% accurate, but it's a very good, accurate or triangulation. So what it's doing is it's using land registry sold prices in that area, and it will give you the data set of what it's used to give you an average figure for that flat in that area. And then you can then just use, and I'll show you when we go through it, what I do with it, with that report that is generated, so that I can then make sure my analysis is correct. Yeah, but that 100% that will address this concern, so we can do that. What you said, size and address. So size and address, just to address it now. So size, typically, if you are seeing the pictures and it hasn't got an actual room number or door number on it, it doesn't say number 65. What sometimes I do is I go street view and I walk around and I'm looking for it. And a lot of the time you can sort of glean that number. If you can't see, these are the quirks here. If you can't see the number the house that you're looking for, go 1 or 2 up, because we know they go up by 2s, right? So if you can then see number 40, and then your one is next door, like your one's actually, and the other one was 38, so your one's going to be 42. So, and then once you use that, did you use the EPC register?
I did on the ones that gave the address.
Okay.
I did that for a couple, but I think it was only a couple that actually had the
addresses.
So I managed to work out the address.
And the other obvious thing is, I would say, do the street view is probably the quickest, easiest cheat. And then if you think, you know what, actually, this is looking quite good, just give him a ring. Ring the agent. Just say, "Hello, I'm just looking at this. Can you just confirm the number? Or do you have a floor plan? Or do you have the sizes of these flats?" It'll take you 3 or 4 minutes, and then, but don't do it at the start. Do it when you start to think, you know what, on an average, let's say it's a 30 or 40 square meter flat, how much do I think it's going to be? And then if the figures turn out to be quite good, then you ring them. It's trying to drive you kind of not ring everybody, otherwise you'll be on the phone all the time. Okay. Any other questions that we can address now? Otherwise we move in to the thing.
The only other thing that I then struggle with is if it had a commercial unit at the bottom, how that then affects the pricing. I just purely from not knowing anything.
Yeah.
I like the idea of a commercial unit just because it adds a little bit of variation. You know, you're not all eggs in one basket, but yeah.
So I love the 100% love the question. The good news is in the deal calculator that you'll end up getting in a little while, or the access to it, there is a tab to it that actually helps you to calculate commercial valuation. So commercial with flats above. But let me address it now also. So how do I do it? So let's say you find a block of flats with a shop below. Typically, the way I approach it, and I still do this now, I disregard, for the sake of revaluation of the flats, I disregard that shop for now. So let's say there's I'll give you an exact example. So I bought 6 flats, and underneath it there is a tanning shop. So when I was looking at it, I was looking at these 6 flats. I wanted to know, can I get my money out using the 6 flats and refinance it out? That's the key, because if you can take your money out from the top, the shops, I'm not, I say that now, I've amassed over time a lot of little shop here, little shop here, little shop here, that I've never really refinanced. So I take the rent coming in, unencumbered properties, but the key here is, are those 6 flats gonna, when I disaggregate them, gonna give me enough uplift in value that I can recycle my money out? Does that make sense? But again, I'm gonna give you a bit more insights about how does that work. So let's say with this the tanning shop, it pays £700 a month. So let's say 9 grand, £8,400 a month, a year I should say. So how does typically a bank will value this? They will say, okay, well, you're making 8 grand, let's run it. Let's make it 10 grand a year. On average, I can find an investor really to take this on for between 8 to 10% yield. So they will value it somewhere around 80 to 100,000 pounds. That's a very loose way of actually seeing how much a shop that's producing X income could be worth. I'm not saying that is exactly the number you will get, but you will get in that kind of ballpark. The idea being that, shit hits the fan, you want to sell it, you'll say, you know what, I've got an asset that's producing 10 grand a year, and somebody will say, you know what, for 10 grand a year, I'll pay 100 grand, that means in 10 years I've paid it off, or I'll pay 80 grand, in 8 years I've paid it off. That's roughly how valuation for a commercial can be seen, and how they will value it. It is not the exact science. There's so many multiple other factors to it, in where the location, the demand for these shops, how long they go empty for, etc., etc. But I'm just giving you almost a heuristic rule quickly of how it works. Does that help?
Yeah, that's good, thank you.
Perfect.
And is there any variations on stamp duty if there's a commercial unit attached?
Correct, absolutely. And